Hey everyone, this is Pastrami Nation, the Meet of Pop Culture. I'm entertainment editor Kevin,
I'm Elijah.
and today we have a very special guest for you all. He's an accomplished creator and producer of over 300 video game concerts since 2004. That's insane. He's created concerts based on the music of Final Fantasy and The Legend of Zelda. His latest project, Heroes, a video game symphony, hits the road in January 2024, right here in Portland, Oregon. Please welcome to the show, Jason, Michael, Paul. Jason, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's absolutely my pleasure. Thank you for having me, and just happy to be a part of it, and to have some like-minded folks who appreciate what I'm doing is
Yeah, we're really, really excited for this. We're beyond stoked when we heard it was coming to Portland. So we're really, really excited to check it out once it's here. So first, like this, so Heroes video game symphony is just like it's insane. Like it's quite the feat. Like it's got uncountable amount of franchises that you're covering with this concert and iconic music and stuff like that. You're covering everything from World of Warcraft to Final Fantasy, BioShock, Legend of Zelda. Like you're covering the gamut here. Can you tell us a little bit about how this all came together and all that stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I was kind of in a transition period around July, and it was around the time when I found out from Nintendo that they wouldn't be going out on tour anytime soon with my other show, The Legend of Zelda: Symphony of the Goddesses.
Mm.
So I kind of took that as an opportunity to kind of look in the bag and kind of revisit a program that I was working on in 2014 that was under a different name and kind of. So what I did is I reached in the bag and I repurposed that show to create Heroes, a video game symphony. So what I did is I took the narration that I had developed from Nigel Carrington of Dear Esther, which is a wildly popular independent game.
Yeah, I
Uh,
played it. Yeah, it's great.
yeah, first person narrative.
Hmm.
And so I took that kind of foundation, and then I also was reading some Joseph Campbell, where he's kind of the creator of a lot of stories that we see kind of take for granted, from a lot of movies to other books, and
Yeah.
he created the hero's journey, or a monomyth of the hero's journey, and so I took that framework, the chapters, and then I had Nigel Carrington telling the story and recording him, and so each chapter I've chosen a video game that best kind of encapsulates that chapter particularly. And so, like for example, the call to arms or the return to battle. These are some of the themes that we visit. And the heroes of this journey are your favorite video game characters.
Yeah, I love that. So I'm curious about that. So like when you're like going through, like obviously you have thousands of hours of like video games, footage and all these, stories and stuff like that. Is it
Yeah.
kind of a, when you're choosing what character to kind of put in, you're taking us on this hero's journey. Is it kind of more of just kind of a personal taste, what you kind of, feel fits right for that part of the journey? Or is there kind of like this whole committee thing that you have to
Like
go
a
through or whatever?
criteria,
Like a
like
criteria, like kind of what's your criteria for choosing each individual game for whatever
Yeah.
case may be?
No, absolutely. I mean, I think it's for this particular show, I'm overwhelmed right now with the
I can
amount
imagine.
of games that I have to choose from. It's
Mhm.
it's it's proven to be almost overwhelming at this point because, like, literally they just keep coming in. I
Yeah.
keep obtaining more and more licenses and more publishers uh, participating, especially with some of the acquisitions that have happened more recently with Xbox, for example,
Right.
Activision Blizzard. So like it's getting to a point now where like I'm gonna bring back Lost Odyssey of Hironobu Sakaguchi fame from Final Fantasy,
Oh,
the
very cool.
original creator of Final Fantasy, and also Blue Dragon with the same creative team, as Final Fantasy, except for an Xbox title. So it's getting even harder. But yeah, no, it's like the criteria really simple. The the music needs to be able to stand on its own
Mhm.
without the visuals. That's a major factor in how we choose the pieces that we perform. And then, of
Right.
course, the visuals is the icing on top of the cake. You know what I mean? And if those two um, if those two gain the way that they if those two things come together in the way that I hope it does, then that's kind of the recipe for success. And that's really what determines. And then, of course, if the publisher is championing it and also talking about it and reposting through their social channels and also maybe even participating in the concourse as an activation, maybe even like game demos and things like that. Those are also some of the factors that I look into as well. Really, how much support I can get from the publishers who are creating these amazing games.
That's really cool because, like, I know, like, back when you were doing your Legend of Zelda concert, like, you were was it the first time Koji Kondo had come to the States during your Zelda concert?
Yeah, so
That's
I actually did a show in 2006 in Chicago where I was performing as part of another show that I created called Play, and I actually invited Koji Kondo to come and
so
play
cool.
on piano Super Mario Brothers theme music, and so he did that. And then, of course, also performed music from The Legend of Zelda. I think it might have been Link to the Past or something like that, which I believe that's around the timeline.
Yeah,
So yeah, you know, been very fortunate. Excuse
that's
me.
actually
Oh, excuse me. Sneezing.
no, you're good.
But yeah, so those are memories that I cherish. Being able to have those memories with legends like Koji Kondo, being the first one to invite him to perform stateside. Those are some very memorable experiences.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. So kind of, can you just take us back kind of at the beginning of your kind of career, putting out these video game concerts? What was it about just video games in general that you realized there was, room for in pop culture space?
Yeah, well, I think it kind of dates back to when I was just a kid. I mean, really, really, literally playing ColecoVision,
Oh
playing the
yeah,
NES. The Contra, Castlevania. I mean, I'm a kid of that. I was the first kid on the block with the 16-bit Genesis. And playing video with my dad. Just like you and your son. You
yep,
know,
absolutely.
sharing, connecting in video games in a different way. Now you're talking about them
Mhm.
and sharing. So yeah, but really it came professionally when I was working for PlayStation as a third party, and we were an agency. I worked for an agency that was doing a lot of their, um, whether it was a sales meeting or whether it was their E3 parties. I was producing those types of events, or whether it was the first totally interactive PlayStation store where we even had a software bar, at in
Oh
San
man,
Francisco at the Metreon. Those were my introductions to video game professionally, doing a lot of more corporate entertainment, and then of course I landed in my first real professional touring gig uh, with Luciano Pavarotti and the Three Tenors. So I kind of had
yeah,
these melding of experiences where I was able to kind of imagine. And so anyways, I was on tour with Pavarotti, and I was in San Jose, Costa Rica at a stadium show, and I had a soundtrack from Final Fantasy. It was One Winged Angel,
oh
and
nice.
I had this PA system for a stadium, and I pumped it through the PA, and everyone was like, "What is that?" And that was really my light bulb moment, where I can kind of see, how this could be a pop phenomenon and kind of bridging the gap between popular culture and the arts. And then I was able to have the opportunity to present such an idea to Square Enix, the makers of Final Fantasy, and
Cool.
that was, as you say, the rest is history.
Yeah, no, that's really, really cool. Square Enix, they're still putting out some great stuff. A big like we're big video game nerds here, so like we, you know,
100%.
everything from Final Fantasy to Kingdom Hearts to I'm a big Assassin's Creed franchise guy, so I saw that this concert does have
I
some
just added
Assassin's
that.
Creed.
I just added that. In fact, Jesper Kidd has become a really good collaborator over
Oh,
the
really?
years, and now I have an opportunity to collaborate with him again. And he was so kind as to provide the scores
Oh,
for the concert. And so that was some real, like, no effort, effortless. Really, it was remarkable to be able to
yeah.
have that experience and working with him again. So I'm really excited to present his music. So it'll be great.
Yeah, no, that's Jesper is one of my favorite. Assassin's Creed 2 score is like top notch, and even his Valhalla score is just incredible. Like the whole franchise, I could talk about Assassin's Creed for an hour, but I won't do that right now.
And you mentioned Kingdom Hearts. And, a little video game nerd fact. I actually produced the first press event for the Kingdom Hearts game launch
Oh my
in
god!
LA at the Westwood W Hotel, and I actually was able to hang out with Tetsuya Nomura, the illustrator,
Oh my
and
gosh!
that was even before he was really doing anything for Final Fantasy, which he's actually been doing work
Yeah,
for. Um, Advent Children, I believe, and some of the anyways, he's an amazing illustrator, and I knew when Kingdom Hearts was being created.
mhm.
Just, I mean, it was the first time. Another fact is that it's the first time in Disney's history they ever shared the screen with a non-Disney character, which I
That's
found
crazy.
very interesting. So that was the first time Disney had ever done anything like that.
Wow,
So
that's insane.
really cool.
That is really cool. I look forward to
Yeah,
part 4 eventually when it comes out down the line, as they say it's going to.
yeah.
Um, so
I would like to. I used to perform it as part of my shows, but now that Kingdom Hearts is part of Disney, it's a little bit harder to
I
wrangle
can
the
imagine.
licenses for that. And they also have, I believe, they have a touring property now. So, but no, Yoko Shimamura is a good friend of mine. I've known her for almost 20 years, and I used to live in Japan, and I speak, read, and write, so I have a little bit of an
Oh,
advantage there when I'm dealing with these Japanese talented composers and producers and what have you.
oh, that's so cool. That's like, the epicenter. I mean, this kid right here, he's 16, but like
Yeah,
Japan's his like ultimate goal. Like he wants to go to Japan, he wants to live in Japan, he wants to work in Japan, he wants to take it all in and work for someone like Sony or Nintendo or something like that. So
Yeah.
he's on the path to do that, which is really cool. Really excited for him.
yeah. I have a daughter who's 16, turning 17 on December
Oh,
2nd,
oh wow.
so I
Congratulations.
can relate.
Yeah, no, that's
Keep
awesome.
dreaming. Keep having have high aspirations.
Oh,
Absolutely.
those they won't stay dreams, they'll become reality one day.
There you go.
They will.
There you
You got to
go.
believe it in order to experience it.
Exactly. So you talk about, when we were kids, like video games were such like they were such a big part of our lives growing up. You talk about ColecoVision, you even talk about things like Atari, the regular NES, like
I
all
played
of
on
these
an
really cool.
N64 once.
Yeah. And like you said, it's coming out at such a rapid rate that it's hard to keep track. I can imagine someone like you, just having, you have something like The Last of Us that's just blown up over the last few years.
Right.
It's insane. Um, have you ever run into, like, obviously we talked about Disney and you don't have to talk about it, any specifics, but have you ever run into an issue where you tried to get the IP for something, but it just didn't quite work out the way you wanted it to and hope to maybe reuse it in the future or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's always going to be challenges. I would say my one problem I have right now is getting the visual rights for Square Enix
Oh,
properties. That would be the one challenge that I have right now, unfortunately. And then also, just because of my relationship with Nintendo, I can't really work with the visuals right now because they're not touring any of their properties right now. So
right.
those are those are the challenges. But those are really the only two that I have an issue with. Um, but, they're not really issues. I could perform the music all day. I just can't perform the visuals from it.
Right.
And that's kind of hard. I have way too many titles that I represent as part of my show to where I want my whole show to be both musically and visually in tune. I don't want there to be I think there's just too many amazing games that are both graphically and musically
Yeah.
to be presented. Um, and unfortunately, this isn't the show for those two titles.
Right. No, it's completely understandable, and I'm sure that
But what
happens.
I do is I put together a kind of like a retrospective, if you will, of the concerts that I have produced with those particular titles. And so I do put it together an assemblage of those to kind of commemorate my contributions with those particular selections.
That's cool. That's awesome. That's actually a cool way to do it, so you don't have to deal with all that stuff. Um, that's really cool. So I have a question for you. Like, what is there anything that So, like you mentioned, games like Dear Esther and things like that. Just out of curiosity, is there anything new that's been out that you've been playing, you've been kind of paying attention to, or anything like that that you're excited to maybe use in future shows or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Starfield is a
Oh,
pretty fascinating title. I think I'm a big fan of Todd Howard. I just think that the guy is uh, he's kind of like our Western Koji Kondo, or sorry, our Western Miyamoto, if you will.
right.
And I just think he's such a remarkable person, very humble, just like Miyamoto is. But he's very creative, and very, very on another level, another planet, another world, I should speak, because he has a lot of different worlds that he's created, which he doesn't get enough credit for that.
Yeah. No, absolutely, 100%. What about you? Is there anything you've been playing lately that you like to see turn into a concert or something like that?
It's a stretch, but Cyberpunk 2077.
I can't believe you just said that. It's funny because a good friend of mine who I used to work with at Nintendo is one of the lead producers on that game.
Oh, wow.
I haven't really. I just know that Keanu Reeves is and Idris Alba are two of the main characters that are involved in the game.
Yeah.
Oh, Keanu is amazing in the game, but he
Yeah.
acts totally different than how he does in other roles.
Oh wow, that's really cool to hear. Have you played it with Idris Alba yet?
And I don't have that part of the game, sadly.
Yeah,
Okay.
we just got because there was all that issues when it first came out with had a rough, launch, but, we got the PS5 version now, so he's been playing that
Still
lately, so he's been
PS4 for
really
right
loving it.
now. Need to
Yeah,
figure out how to upgrade
absolutely.
it, and then we'll have the PS5.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's the way to do it. Um, well,
That's awesome.
Yeah, Jason, thank you so much for joining us. It's been so awesome having you on. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Um,
I gotta ask you a question, man. So, pastrami. When I think of pastrami, I think of Pittsburgh. So, are you from Pittsburgh?
I'm actually from Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
It's kind of the site is based in Southern California, and it's kind of a inside joke with some of the creators of the site. Even though it would be really cool if we were from Pittsburgh, that'd be great.
What's your hat? Is that a Portland hat, or is that I can't tell? Is that a Pittsburgh Steelers
Oh no,
or a
it's a
Pittsburgh
Portland
Pirates?
hat. It's a Portland hat.
Okay, okay,
There's this
okay.
Yeah, there's
Never
this really
mind.
cool no, you're good. There's this really cool website called portlandgear.com. They have a bunch of really great like Portland gear. I
Okay,
like to
okay. No,
represent
that's
Portland.
cool. Have you ever been to Primani's in Pittsburgh? It's famous for their
No,
pastrami sandwiches. That's why I said that.
my gosh. I think we need to take a pastrami nation trip to Pittsburgh to get that because I
Yeah.
love pastrami sandwiches so much.
I think you need to. And the last thing I want to say is when you guys come to the show in Portland, I want to make sure that I give you a behind this, you know, backstage tour and everything. One thing I definitely got to plug is for all those people listening in Portland, this is one of the best orchestras in the country. And we're also going to have a
Nice.
choir. It's a big group. It's going to be 70 musicians and 24 voice choir.
That's
Um,
insane.
you know, that's almost 100 musicians on stage, and there might even be 100 musicians on stage because they always tend to fatten it up a little bit, give themselves a bigger sound. and I'm really excited for this performance more than I have been for a lot of shows. And what better venue than the Arlene
Oh
Schnitzer?
my gosh, that place is
It's like,
beautiful.
does it get any better than that? Come on, I mean, Yo-Yo Ma performs there. Come on, like
It's
that's the home. It doesn't get any better than that. And they have a gorgeous museum right around the corner from there. It's a great. It's gonna be a great day. I can't wait.
absolutely 100%. Portland's an amazing city, and we're so happy that you are coming here at the Arlene Schnitzer. That show will be on January 18th, and people can go to heroes www.heroes or dash symphony.com to get your tickets and merch and all that fun stuff from you guys. We're really excited to check out the show, and we will definitely take you up on that backstage offer. That would be so much fun.
Yes, we will.
We will certainly be there, and
Whoops.
yeah, hopefully we will see you there. Well, Jason, thank you so much, and we really appreciate it. Appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today.
We
It's been my
really
pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome.